Dear listeners, before we start today's show, a quick announcement. The Indian Express has released a new 5 episodes history podcast show called Pages from the Past. In its first season, hosts Adrija Roy Chaudhary and Damini Jaiman explore the stories of 5 princely states that were reluctant to join the Indian Union in 1947. We will publish the first episode of the podcast on this fate tomorrow at 10 a.m. Do tune in.
Hi, I'm Anwiti Singh, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. These are the celebration chants of Bharatiya Janata Party and the Indian National Congress for winning Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh, respectively. On December 8th, the assembly election results of 2 states were announced. In Gujarat, the Bharatiya Janata Party won a landslide victory with a historic win of 156 seats, whereas Congress won 40 seats in Himachal Pradesh, keeping up with the anti-incumbency tradition of the state. In this episode, we speak to 4 reporters from the Indian Express, Leena Misra, Amil Bhatnagar, Liz Matthew and Manoj CG, to analyze the election results for us.
और साथियों, इस बार वाकई गुजरात ने तो कमाल ही कर दिया है.
In Gujarat, 2 electoral records were set. BJP won the highest single majority in the state ever, while Congress dropped to one of its lowest vote share in the state. Leena Misra, who reports on Gujarat for the Indian Express, tells us about the performance of these 2 parties in this election.
It has seen the best ever performance by the BJP. It has seen the worst performance for the main opposition, which is the Congress. And it has seen a new entrant, Aam Aadmi Party, not just taking away over 12% share of the votes, but also they have won on 3 seats. So the BJP has crossed for the first time the 50% vote share, which used to be only, the Congress's claim so far. When the Congress used to be in power in Gujarat, it had crossed the 50% vote share, which was till 1985.
While Gujarat saw a landslide win, Himachal looked neck to neck in the early stages, but Congress eventually passed the majority mark. So what worked for Congress in Himachal? Indian Express's Amil Bhatnagar, who joined us from Himachal Pradesh, credits this victory to Congress identifying and addressing local issues early on during the campaigns.
For Congress, the campaign has been largely about local issues and a state-oriented campaign. For the BJP, the campaign was more central leadership-oriented. For example, they had pushed PM Modi in the state with several of his speeches, several of his rallies. He visited multiple times during a week in October. He inaugurated several development projects. So the idea was that BJP was trying to tell people in Himachal that you should vote for a government that will be a stable government in the center, and therefore you will get benefits of it in the state with the center-state coordination. So there was an absence or a lacuna of a regional state-level leadership being projected, and it was entirely fought in Modi's name. And then, of course, we saw a very heavy campaign by the BJP, but somewhere it did fall short. For the Congress, they focused on regional leaders. They have multiple CM faces. They have problems of factionalism. But for them, it worked that even the individual CM faces were working for their own constituencies because they wanted to establish their own leadership. The old pension scheme was a marquee scheme for the Congress. And because they knew that the state government employees are going to play a huge role in the elections and the voting, and of course, swinging the number. So the OPS scheme and their idea of focusing on state-level leadership worked for Congress.
While Amil says that BJP's campaign strategy of bringing national leaders didn't work for Himachal, Indian Express's Liz Matthew, who covers BJP, says that the party paid less attention to the state as compared to Gujarat and underestimated Congress's groundwork.
In Himachal, what has shown is the failure of the local leadership, and the leadership maybe because they paid more attention into Gujarat and they have kind of left to the party president and some leaders to play it in Himachal. The Himachal's issue, actually in both states, the state leadership was a failure. You know that in Gujarat, the party intervened at the right time, changed the entire state organization as well as the state government. The cabinet, when Vijay Rupani had quit and Bhupendra Patel came in, the party changed almost every minister. The party dropped 41 sitting MLAs. Whereas in Himachal, despite a lot of demands from the state unit for the last 2 years, and despite repeated defeats in the by-election and the local elections, Jairam Thakur was not changed. There was rebellion in the party. But somehow Jairam Thakur managed to survive because he was a moderate face. He was a soft face. He was not aggressive. So he was known as JP Nadda's man. But he could not bridge that gap between this Nadda camp and so-called faction, Nadda camp and the Prem Kumar Dhumal faction. BJP failed to hear that voice from the ground. They kind of overestimated their strength and underestimated the Congress's that ground level work which they have done during the election.
But the exact opposite was seen in Gujarat. Leena explains that the image and the presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi was instrumental in cementing this win.
So what worked essentially and largely is the fact that the image of Prime Minister Modi and the micromanagement of Amit Shah, which the BJP itself has been claiming. So this time the BJP focused solely on winnability. They did not really care for the protests on the, Congress turncoats being given tickets, or there were some dissidents in the BJP who contested because they were denied tickets. And they also completely changed the government just over a year before the elections. That was a move actually to check anti-incumbency. And there was a speculation that, this might work against the BJP, but this also seems to have paid off. So these, I think, worked for the BJP, and they were completely aware of the fact that there is a new party here called Aam Aadmi Party, which is largely seen as a urban party, and it could take away their urban vote share. However, the results have proved this theory completely wrong, and the BJP has won on almost all the urban seats. It has also taken some of the seats that were represented by the Congress in urban areas.
So how did Congress lose these seats they had won in previous elections? Manoj CG, who covers the Congress for the Indian Express, analyzes this loss.
The Congress has itself to blame for this spectacular loss in Gujarat. I would say it was a listless campaign, but for every election, somebody has to take ownership for the campaign. So just look back at 2017. Rahul Gandhi was about to take over as the Congress president. It was a kind of a prestige battle for him. So he led from the front. He addressed so many rallies, waged a very energetic, spirited campaign, apart from one or two self-goals. If you remember Manishankar Iyer's statement calling Prime Minister Modi a neech Atmi, and also apart from that one or two self-goals, the party had a very, organized campaign in 2017. But this time, nobody really took ownership of the campaign. Rahul Gandhi is away leading the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Ahmed Patel is no more. Gehlot, he is fighting his own battles in Rajasthan. In September, we saw how there was some open defiance in Jaipur to the Congress High Command on its plans to replace him. Then he was supposed to contest for the post of Congress President. He backed out at the instance of the High Command at the last minute. So he is facing his own battle. The Congress campaign was kind of listless. There's no visibility factor. So this message that the Congress is not visible and Congress is not serious this time, that message came out at least 2 months ago. So there was no effort to dispel that perception.
And Manoj says that this perception of Congress not being serious about the elections came out strongly in favour of the Aam Aadmi Party's election campaigns.
What the Aam Aadmi Party is able to at least manage to do is that this perception that the Congress is not serious, they could take that forward and cut into the Congress vote. So mostly if we see, it is the Congress which has lost its vote share from around 41% to down to 26-27%, and Aam Aadmi Party gaining some 12-13%. So that was the main problem area for the Congress in Gujarat, and surprisingly so, the central leadership did not intervene in time.
And Leena says that Congress also failed to live up to the demands of a strong opposition in Gujarat. That's why Aam Aadmi Party gained the 12% vote share in the state.
Last election, 2017, showed that, there was a huge space being made for a very strong opposition. which is why the Congress won 77 of the seats, which was its highest since the BJP came to power in Gujarat. And the BJP ended up in double digit numbers, which is 99. So there was a space building for a strong opposition in Gujarat even after Modi left the scene and he became prime minister. But somehow the Congress failed to live up to it. It failed to live up to be a strong, vociferous opposition, whether it was its performance in the state assembly, even after, it had 177 seats or outside it. Many of its MLAs, even after winning in 2017, they switched over to the BJP. And it was down to almost 45, the number of the Congress MLAs this time. So this showed that, Gujarat's voter was seeking a fresh, brand new idea, a fresh opposition, which I think the Aam Aadmi Party sort of provided space for it. Although, the Aam Aadmi Party came to occupy, they fought their election, hoping to form the government with all the guarantees and all. But in the end, their campaign targeted the Congress very loudly. Kejriwal also went to the extent of appealing to Congress supporters and telling them that, if you don't like the BJP and you were about to vote for the Congress, better vote for us because Congress and BJP are together. So this kind of a campaign also helped the BJP and it caused damage to the Congress. But the fact remains that, Gujarat probably is now ready for change. At least at the number 2 place, they would like to see a strong opposition. And that is what this election, I think, goes to prove. So in the tribal areas, the Congress, which used to be a Congress bastion, and these voters have always loyally supported the Congress had won some 15 seats out of 27 in 2017, and 2 of it, its ally, Bharatiya Tribal Party, had won. This time, however, Aam Aadmi Party has ended up winning 2 seats and the Congress has ended up with just 2 seats. And the rest has gone to BJP or, there is also an independent who's leading in one of the seats. So the thing is that the tribal electorate has preferred the ruling party over the other 2 opposition parties. I think because they feel that, their condition can be bettered by a ruling party and the Congress doesn't seem in any way coming back to power in the future. They could see that, the prospects of the Congress were going down. And I think that does not augur well for any party.
Leena also mentions how the Bharatiya Janata Party won despite some tragedies witnessed during its governance recently, like the Morbi Bridge tragedy, where a bridge collapsed in the Machu River, resulting in the death of 135 people.
So we, just like the whole country, went through a very harsh COVID pandemic lockdown. There were job losses and there was a lot of distress around and there was the problem of price rise and so on. And people were, facing a lot of hardships. But still, somehow, these narratives have not worked. Plus, very close to the election, we saw this Morbi tragedy that happened where 135 people died because of the collapse of a bridge, that was supposed to be a very attractive tourist spot. And the leadership of the BJP has been promoting such tourist spots, be it the Statue of Unity or, whatever. So the collapse of this bridge leading to the deaths of so many people so close to the election, Morbi did not figure in the narrative at all. And today we are seeing that the BJP has not only won the Morbi seat, won it back from the Congress, but it has won all the 5 seats in the Morbi district also. So this is a very strange phenomenon in Gujarat's elections where whatever be the case, the image of the leader surmounts every narrative that might have been building up to the election. The Aam Aadmi Party may have promised guarantees which appeared attractive to a section of the people. The Congress may have had a very attractive manifesto where they also promised, that if they came to power, they would revoke the remission of the Bilkis Bano case. But none of it worked. In fact, C.K. Raoji, if we were to mention the MLA who sat in the jail advisory committee that cleared the remission, he is today winning by a huge margin. He had in the last elections won by just a 3-digit vote margin. This time he is winning by a 5-digit vote margin, which only goes to prove, that the brute force of the ruling party. And before it, nothing worked.
But this force did not help the party in Himachal. Rebel leaders from the Bharatiya Janata Party who parted ways with the party to run as independent candidates, impacted BJP's vote share. Additionally, the Congress came up with a number of campaign promises, which, as Manoj describes, were received positively by the voters.
Priyanka Gandhi Vadra took charge because there were internal reports, internal surveys, which was showing that the Congress is in a position to, win that state. And then identification of issues. They identified local issues on which there is some kind of resonance, be it this restoration of this old pension scheme. Now, the Congress has promised the same in Gujarat, but it may not find resonance in Gujarat because Gujarat is largely a business-driven state. Free bijli or a pension and all doesn't really cut ties with the electorate there. Of course, there are poorer areas, poorer sections of the people, but it's a largely an urban kind of a state. This Agniveer scheme, Himachal gives so many people to the armed forces. So it's a major contributor in that sense. So after this COVID 2-year hiatus in recruitment, people prepared, but then this Agniveer scheme. So there was resentment against that scheme also. So, and then the jobs promise that the Congress had given, addressing price rise, the unemployment factor, the pension scheme. So they really harped on these local issues.
While these promises worked for Congress in Himachal, voters in Gujarat responded differently. And Liz explains why.
The attitude of the people, the electorate, the Gujarat electorate is like they are blind when it comes to their admiration and appreciation from Narendra Modi. And because, I was talking to people, to find out what is actually the reason for this kind of Modi, Modi, Modi.
Modi! 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 Modi!
So one leader told me, because Gujaratis emotionally they always wanted to have that Gujarati pride is very much, they're very self-proud people. So they wanted, like after Gandhi and Sardar Patel, they didn't have a national leader to kind of say that Gujarat Asmita, which Modi kind of cashed in on. And he won that battle completely during his tenures as chief minister. But in Himachal, people are very different. They won't let you take them for granted. They're not very poor. They're middle class or like upper middle class, or like they're slightly affluent people. There are not many poor people there. The Muslim population, that divide, the polarization can have its impact in Gujarat, whereas 90+% is in Himachal are Hindus. So you cannot have that polarizing factor also.
So now that both the parties have won one state each, who will be their chief ministers? While BJP knows that its next chief minister in Gujarat will be the incumbent Bhupendra Patel, the Congress is yet to decide its CM face. Amil says that there are multiple candidates who can become Himachal Pradesh's next chief minister.
There have been multiple chief minister faces like Mukesh Agnihotri, the leader of opposition, Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu, Asha Kumari, who is now presently losing, KL Thakur, and Pratibha Singh, of course, the HPCC head. So, in the absence of Veerbhadra Singh, the tall leader and 6-time CM, there's obviously several panel leaderships have come up in Congress. So now their headache begins as to what sort of unity the party will have in deciding the CM face.
And Manoj says that the Congress will also have to deal with the absence of a strong face for the party like Veerbhadra Singh.
The party did not have a charismatic face because Veerbhadra Singh was the towering Congress leader in Himachal, and till he was alive, he did not allow any other leader to blossom in that sense. So there's a huge leadership vacuum. And factionalism, like in Gujarat, there is factionalism in Himachal as well. Veerbhadra Singh's wife, Pratibha Singh, is the PCC president, the state Congress president. Then the former state Congress president, Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu, the leader of the opposition, Mukesh Agnihotri. So they all did not get along really well. Several factors will come into play when it comes to, selecting the chief minister. So one is whether to carry forward the legacy of Veerbhadra Singh or move away from his shadows and give some other leader a chance to emerge. So that call will have to be taken. Then the regional equations will come into play. The Kangra region, Kangra is the biggest district. It has 15 seats, and the region some 24 seats. So Kangra region this time has supported Congress, has won handsomely there. So that equation will come into play whether Mandi, the BJP has managed to save Mandi. So Congress could not win many seats there. The chief minister now, Jairam Singh Thakur, comes from Mandi, and Pratibha Singh is also from Mandi. So whether to give to a person from Kangra or from person from Mandi. So both Sukhu and Agnihotri, they belong to this Kangra region. So the regional equation will come into play. Then the third equation will be the caste. The dominant caste in Himachal Pradesh is Brahman and Thakur. So there are these two lobbies which play both in Congress and in BJP. So far, the state could see only one Brahmin chief minister, that's Shanta Kumar of the BJP. Otherwise, both BJP and Congress have given Thakur chief ministers. So here, Mukesh Agnihotri is a Brahmin, Sukhu and Pratibha Singh both are Thakurs. So that call will have to be taken. So it's caste, regional, balance of equation. So all these factors will come into play, and then the loyalties of the MLAs. These MLAs, who they back. Everybody would have given tickets to some of their close confidants, and most of them would have won now. So the party will have to see who has the support of the most number of MLAs.
So what will be the possible impacts of these wins? Manoj says Congress's win in the Hindi-speaking state is a significant win for the party.
Because the Congress's route in both 2014 and 2019 was majorly in the Hindi heartland, in the Hindi-speaking states. They've managed to win seats in Kerala, Karnataka. They managed to win seats in Punjab, one or two seats here and there. But the complete route was in the Hindi-speaking states. So Himachal Pradesh is in a sense a Hindi-speaking state, and the return of the party, even though it's a very small state, that has a big significance. The second significance, of course, for the Congress is not significant. It's about Gujarat. You have shared the opposition space with a party which openly claims that they will be the alternative to the Congress. So the Congress, of course, was not hoping to win Gujarat, neither does the Aam Aadmi Party, but you have given a foothold to a party in Gujarat. So that should worry the Congress. It has been from bipolar, now it has become a three-cornered, multipolar state.
And for the BJP, Liz says this win will boost the morale of the party cadres before the upcoming assembly elections in 2023.
BJP was more or less sure about the victory, but they wanted to be sure that the victory is very shining, a bright one, because it will keep the morale up for the cadre which has to go for election. I mean, it's already started the preparation for 2024 election. So that, and also, they are preparing for election in Karnataka, Tripura, where the party situation is actually very bad. And in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, where also, it's not very good parties. So such a very shining and a bright victory would keep the morale up for the BJP cadre. And for BJP leadership, Gujarat is a matter of pride. It's a very prestige issue for them. You cannot not just lose Gujarat, but also you cannot just win. It has to win.
While the consecutive wins of the Bharatiya Janata Party under the leadership of former Chief Minister and now Prime Minister Narendra Modi might be a record or a cause for celebration for the party, Leena presents an alternative view.
These kind of victories where a party keeps coming back to power on the image of one leader can prove to be sort of detrimental for democracy, where the opposition is unable to match up to the fight put up by the ruling party, and they are not only failing to match up to their own expectations, they fail to match up to even the people's expectations, which is one biggest failure. And I think the results of the Gujarat election is more a failure of the opposition Congress than a success of the BJP. It is, of course, a success for the BJP, which has, never stopped working for the election. I mean, this is a party which is in an election mode all the time, while Congress comes into election mode only in the last few months. While here they have been challenged this time by the Aam Aadmi Party. This is also an interesting phenomena. This election will already, make the Aam Aadmi Party a national party. And this could, open the space for the party to contest bigger elections. But giving a toehold to this party in Gujarat means that it could easily, in the future elections, take the space of the principal opposition, which is the Congress.
Dear listeners, before we end our show, we would like to remind you about a new history show, Pages from the Past. All the episodes are available on our website and app. The links are in the description of this episode. But do remember to tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the first episode, The Reluctant Princess, Travancore, the one with the assassination attempt.
You were listening to The Three Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was hosted by me, Anwiti Singh, and written and produced by Utsa Sarmin with the help of Anwiti Singh. It was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone who you think will like it, share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Podcasts or write to us at podcast@indianexpress.com.